Good evening, welcome to Last Bell Boxing, joined by past and present regulars, I guess. So, Harrison, welcome back to the channel, mate.
Hey, Carl, you all right?
Yeah, I hope all is good with your horse racing gig.
All good, thanks.
How you going, Sean, down in Brighton? We know what Brighton's famous for, but we won't go any further on that one, Sean.
Yes, I'm all good, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I don't know why I went there, Sean, but I think I drank too much Diet Coke today, but other brands are available. And last but no way least, I'm not even going to go there regarding the passport, Brett. That'll save for another day. But how you doing, Brett?
Doing well, mate. Yeah, I'm a citizen of two countries, which has got you
Anyway,
rather hot under the collar. Got you hot under the collar.
Doing Coke bastard. Anyway, that's got the YouTube channel blocked for another film. So massive card this weekend. Eubank versus Benn, the fight that Andy still insists is not watching. I don't believe him. I don't know whether you lot do.
He's literally not here right now because he's on his DAZN app buying the fight. That's how much I believe, Andy.
He's sat facing the wall in his house. That's what he's doing, allegedly. So we're going to cover the main event, main card. So we're going to start with Chris Smith against a very outspoken Brandon Glanton, who kind of put it on Chev Clark and Chris Smith in the presser. So looking for a prediction, I'm going to come to Harrison first. Talk to us, Harrison.
Yeah, very American style for Brandon Glanton, wasn't it? Call everybody out at the press conference, make a name for yourself, get yourself known that you're at that table. And he's been a bit of a joy to be around all fight week, really. I mean, it's difficult really to assess where he is in his career. You know, the biggest fights he's had have been the ones that he's lost. David Light a couple of years ago, not the most active of fighters. He comes with a sort of big name. People talk about him being a big puncher. I was quite surprised to see how close him and Chris Smith were being matched. Personally, I'm really big on the side of Chris Smith here. I know obviously that Zota Ramirez fight just didn't go his way, but before that he was stacking up a really good domestic CV. You know, put away Riakporhe, Okoli, Isaac Chamberlain. You know, I've always had him. I know you haven't, but I've always had him in regard as one of the better cruiserweights. You know. How much he's got left at that world level, I don't know, but just based specifically on Saturday night, I think he's probably a level or two too good for Brandon Glanton here. I really do. Good style. The ring being small is he's probably the one who disadvantages the most on this card from that because he does have a long range in style. He's not the most exciting of fighters, unfortunately, but he gets the job done. He's very technically astute, and I'm quite big on the side of Chris Smith here on Saturday.
Has Chris Smith overachieved, or am I being a bit naughty there?
I mean, it depends really how the division finds its way in the next couple of years. If Lawrence Okoli and Riakporhe and Chamberlain go on to do any better, then it might look like he might have overachieved. But at this present moment in time, he's just beaten domestics around him who are probably around the same level. He just seems to be the one that keeps pulling out and doing more and more. I wouldn't say he's overachieved, no, but at the same time, what he can do now in the next 12 to 18 months, a lot of it's going to depend on this card. He's got this big stage at Tottenham on Saturday, so he really needs to use it.
Yeah. Prediction then, Harrison?
Smith on points. He's not the biggest of punchers. I think Glanton can take a punch but not land one, so I'll go wide points for CBS.
Okay, and we've got Mick who's joined us. How you going, Mick?
Good, thanks, pal. Yourself?
Yeah, living the dream, mate. Living the dream. So we're just on the first fight, which is Chris Smith versus Brandon Glanton. So we're just giving predictions. So Harrison just gave his first prediction, so I'll move to Brett next. So Brett, same question to you. How do you see this fight panning out?
Very much similar to the way that Harrison had it. One thing I did, a couple of things to say based on Harrison's comments there. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know too much about Glanton, but he definitely. I had no problem with what he did on the stage there because now all of a sudden he's popped up and I've gone, oh, who's this?
Yeah.
And now I'm a little bit intrigued. So if he brings some eyes to him, then we're gonna take a little closer look. There are people that have backed him to nick a decision here. By the way, if you have a little look around, some people quite fancy him. But I like the way that Chris looked. He looked very composed. I know he always does. I know he's the gentleman, but he looked very composed. His skin looked good. He's obviously not had an hard training camp. He looks like he's ready to go. And I think think deep down, I know he's not a heavy puncher, but he's probably triggered him and he does want to tear his head off a little bit. So you might see a different Billam Smith that tries to come out and step on him and take him out. And if that's the case, he could push himself back in the limelight again. But the boxing head says it'll be a unanimous decision for Billam Smith.
Okay, so we'll come to you next, Mick. So welcome to the channel. Appreciate you joining the channel. So do you want to give us your breakdown on how you see the fight going?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thanks for the invite, guys. Really appreciate it. I mean, one thing about Billam Smith, you can't fault him for the fight he takes. I mean, if you look at what he's done just throughout his career, I mean, he was 9-0 and he went in against Riakporhe. He's then took out a Curly, took out Masternak when he was behind in the fight, then went in with Riakporhe again. The kid just takes hard fight after hard fight. Looking at what's just went on stage, I can't see anything other than a Billam Smith win. I think he'll end up coming through a fire. I mean, Glanton's got a similar record, only they're both 20-2. Glanton's got more knockouts on the record, but he hasn't fought the level of fight that Billam Smith fought. I just think he's called the gentleman. He's just going to be too much. He's just going to be too classy, and he's going to be able to outbox Glanton, I think. He's going to want to bounce back from the 0 loss. I can't see anything other than a unanimous decision, maybe even late stoppage for Billam Smith.
Okay, thank you very much. Sean, coming to you. Good evening, Sean. Give us your thoughts on the Billam Smith fight.
Yeah, very much. I see the fight as the lads have said. Really, there's not too much to add to it from myself. With Billam Smith, it's his last chance. Let's be honest. If he wants to get back up to the level he was at, he's got to come through this fight, and with flying colours. Interesting to see how they position him next, because obviously you've got two killers really in Zerdo and Opataya. So there's not really any openings for a world title for him yet. Does he fight someone like Vidal Riley just to keep busy if he was to come through? It's a big step up for Vidal, but there's not really any standout fighters to put him in with next, really. So he's just going to be in a who needs him club, I'm afraid, if he comes through for the next sort of 6 to 8 months or so.
Depends though, Sean. If he looks sensational, it's a different conversation, isn't it? If he
never does, Brett, does it?
No, that's probably Sean's absolutely bang on in what he's saying. He'll just be sat there. But if he does something that we all probably don't expect him to do, and he knocks him out in 4 rounds, then maybe he forces himself into something.
Yeah, it's not his.
Unless they chuck him a Badu Jack or someone, I guess that's always a possibility.
Yeah, it's a good money fight for him.
Other than that, I think it will just be stagnating.
I think everyone.
I think that's the same, though, isn't it, for everybody? Because nobody in that division's touching Jai Opataya.
And I think everyone in the division wants to get to Badu Jack first. Okay, move on to the next part then, lads. So, Vidal Riley versus Chev Clark. Now, this is quite interesting, wasn't it, in the presser? Yeah, very, very interesting. I quite like the way it's Arsenal top as well, which I find quite amusing. So I'm going to come to Brett first on this one. Brett, give us your thoughts on this one. Very intriguing fight, this one.
Yeah, you know what? I'll still stay with my prediction from something that we were involved in yesterday, Carl. But Eddie did have me thinking today when he talked a little bit about Chev Clark's pedigree in terms of the things that he's done. It's turned my head a little bit, but I will stick to what I said I was going to do. So originally I had Riley winning a unanimous decision. I don't see a knockout in the fight, if I'm being brutally honest. I know that Shalom talked about this stealing the fight of the night card. I can't see that either. I think it will be a hug 'em and tug 'em, and for that reason I'm going with Riley, but on a unanimous decision. But I can quite clearly see now, maybe I've not given Chev Clark enough respect, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, I think this is 50-50 out of this fight. Harrison, coming to you next, fella. Give us your breakdown.
A lot of it comes down to how much you can forgive Chev Clark for that loss last time out, be it that it was obviously a very close decision that maybe could have gone either way. That really is the sticking point, because obviously Vidal Riley undefeated hasn't really done anything wrong, but they are both stepping up now to each other's level from a level where neither of them have really fought before. I mean, if you look down both of the CVs, maybe Mikhail Lawal is probably the biggest name between the two of them. I mean, there isn't really much there to make you think that they could win this and then go on and be a mandatory for a world title. There is stepping stones for this, and it is just perfect, I think, at the British level right now to have this. It's a perfect title fight for me. I think I do forgive Chev Clark enough off the back of that loss last time out, to be honest. And before that, he was an absolute punching machine. He was going through people very quickly. Tommy McCarthy, Ellis Zorro. There was some really good performances in there. He's only gone the distance once with Apache, and even that was a bit of a tear-up as well. Really good fight last year. I just think that if it comes down to that power battle, which a lot of these title fights at British level can find themselves doing quite often, I think that he might just be a little bit too good here, to be honest. But Alrighty's got a lot of really good technical skills. You can see that from the amateurs, but I just think that if Chev Clark manages to clip him early on in the fight, he might be able to just push him in. Smaller ring that's going to get mentioned, of course, in the main event as well. Huge advantage to him if this gets up close and personal. I was a little bit surprised to see that it wasn't a 50-50 fight, to be honest, but I think Chev Clark could stop him here.
Okay, thank you very much. Sean, coming to you.
Yeah, I agree with Harrison. I mean, Chev, as much as I love him, he made myself look a bit silly last time when he fought for the European title in Monaco, when I gave him the big build-up. But I'm still going to back him here. I think he walks through Vidal Riley. I know people say Vadu's got all this Olympic, well, not Olympic, but GB experience and whatnot. But he's not shown me too much from his professional fights. So I saw a few of his early fights when he was under the Mayweathers. Never looked good. He's looked good in patches for a boxer. That's about it. I think Chev's levels and levels above him. I think he'll probably get a mid to late stoppage.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, Mick, give us your breakdown.
I can't disagree with what the guys have said about Chev Clark performing at a higher level. I just think there's something in it with Vidal Riley. I think I'm going to go with Brett and say he's going to win unanimous decision. I think a lot needs to be taken from the fact of this is Chev Clark's bread and butter, but he needs to be here. Vidal Riley doesn't need to be here. He doesn't need to be doing this game. He's doing this because he loves it and he wants to do it. And I think there's a lot in that. And I honestly think he's on the ascent. Chev Clark's going to be a bit gung-ho to try and get back in the win column. And I think Vidal Riley's just going to outsmart him a little bit, take it to a decision, and I think he's going to get the nod.
One thing we are going to find out is what level Vidal Riley's at, right? This is his best opponent he's been in with. Okay, moving on. Next one, another intriguing fight. Anthony Yarde versus Lyndon Arthur. So currently 1-1. So I'll come to Mick first. Mick, give us your breakdown and prediction.
This is the only one for me on the card where I'm a bit like, do we really need it? The first fight, let's be honest, it was won with a jab by Arthur. The second fight, he got cleaned out. And when you look at Anthony Yarde's career, he tends to fight three types of opponents. He's got Russian world-class champions, he's got absolute journeymen, and he's got Arthur. That's what he's got. That's what he seems to fight. I don't think we need to say this, to be honest. I think it's going to be a Yarde victory again. I think he'll stop him again. I'm not really excited about this one, to be honest. I don't see why it's there. I think it's there just to pad the card a little bit and to get Yarde a little bit of a run out. And I think Arthur's just coming in to be a little bit of cannon fodder, to be honest.
Mick, pick your hand. 5. Brilliant. Thank
5.
you. Sean, same question.
Yeah, I echo what Mick said there, really. It's a bit of a stinker of a fight for me. Again, not one I particularly want to see. Seen a few rogue comments from people who think it will be the fight of the night. I think it will be the opposite, unfortunately. I think it will be a bore, to be honest. I can see them both carrying each other and labouring to points, unfortunately. And I think Yarde will probably come out on top. I think Lyndon Arthur's an odd one, isn't he? We don't really know how good he is, even though he's been in these kind of level of fights. So if he can pull something out of the fire, maybe he'll make it competitive. But I think Yard wide on points.
Okay, thank you very much. Brett, coming to you next.
Yeah, I think said it yesterday, didn't I, mate, when we were talking that Lyndon's been paid very, very handsomely now in his career since he's been getting the nod from Turkey, and I think that dog's probably gone out of him a little bit. So therefore, yeah, I agree with Mick. It's a very strange fight to put on the card. The only thing I can think is they've tried to sell it as 1-1 for the final third one. Yard comes in, smokes him out inside the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then it's set up for a blockbuster somewhere. So I don't know if it's genius from the people behind the scenes because of billing it that way, but I just hope that, I wish Lyndon all the best because I think he's a great human. Like in terms of I think he conducts himself well. He's always very respectful of people. But if we do want to see those domestic dust-ups, big domestic dust-ups, and want to see Yard actually take somebody on that's, like Mick said, not a journeyman or a Russian, then he needs to look top draw. He can't carry him to the later rounds and then put a flurry on at the end. He's got to get rid of him early doors. That being said,
I do wonder where his promotional, where he sits with his promotion at the minute. 'Cause 1 minute he's not with Warren, then they're kissing and making up, and then he's with Scott, with Shalom. That was a strange one as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's the missing piece there. Like, where is he, and where's his head at because of that? Do you know what I mean? And is he getting decently paid for this? And has he trained properly? Because he knows that he beat Lyndon easy last time, and if you listen to him in the first fight, he had all sorts of problems, personal problems. His head was all over the place when he lost that one. So hopefully he doesn't come in thinking I'm just going to steamroll Lyndon, because Lyndon can make it awkward with that jab. He can make it awkward with that jab. Yeah. That being said, I'll stick my neck out on the line. I'll follow Mick here into saying, yeah, I fancy 5th round.
Okay, Harrison, last but not least.
Well, we can move on from this one pretty quickly. I think pretty much everything was covered there, to be honest. It's a very poor fight. It's a good ticket seller. It doesn't need to happen. It's a shame it is, really. I mean, it's great for Lyndon Arthur, like Brescia said there. He's a man who deserves the payday. Was obviously brave enough to go in there with Bivol in the last 12 rounds, which is probably the biggest achievement of his career. If Anthony Yard turns up and bothers, he'll probably beat him. Might even just die out onto points, to be honest. I mean, I want to see from Yard what I've wanted to see from Buatsi for like the last 7 years as well. Well, those two fighting, but then I just want to see Yard kind of step up the levels and try and go through a regular route to get to a world championship title fight, if that makes sense. Not just fight 3 blokes we've never heard of and then fight someone who's going to completely outclass them. The division might open up for him in the next 12 months as well, with Vitoriev and Bivol getting on, but I couldn't care less, to be honest, Carl.
So, Yard Buatsi is the worst kept secret for the undercard of Dubois versus Usyk in the summer. So, I'm assuming that's what they're teeing it up for.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to the next fight, which I do think is going to be fight of the night. Liam Smith versus Aaron McKenna. So, I'm going to come to Mick first. So, Mick, give us your breakdown and prediction.
What I will say, I've always been a fan of Liam Smith, and I don't think whatever happens in this fight, I don't think it changes his legacy in the sport, to be honest. I don't think it does. But I honestly think he's had his day now. I think that the worst you've ever seen him is that second fight with Eubank. He crashed the weight and whatever else, he was injured, etc. But I think McKenna's just on the up. I think he's going to be too fast. He's going to be too sharp. I think Smith is just going to be old man a little bit. I think he's going to look like an old man in the ring, and I think McKenna's probably going to get the nod on the points. To be honest,
I'll play devil's advocate with you, though, Mick. McKenna's been in with no one of Liam Smith's level, right?
No, I agree. And when you look at the resume of Liam Smith, and you look at the likes of Canelo, Munguia, Vargas, etc., he's had a good career, but I think he's at the end now, and I think McKenna's gonna show that as well. To be honest, I think that would be the surprise of the night.
Okay, thank you very much.
Personally.
Harrison, coming to you next. Give us your breakdown and prediction.
Yeah, nice to see Liam Smith on the card, to be honest, especially after having to pull out last year in what would have been a very good fight with Josh Kelly, I'm sure. it's a case of has Father Time got to Liam Smith here for me, because Aaron McKenna is up and coming, and he's at the right age to take on Liam Smith, because it's perfect really of get a big name on your resume who gives you a lot of respect, but catch him at the right time as well, which he might just be doing here. It's been very progressive with him. He's got good power, hasn't he, McKenna? He's a very, very good fighter to watch. He'll stand and come there. Like Liam Smith, you kind of have to just base it off more recent fights. Obviously, split the fights, but Eubank beat him up really badly, like really, really badly in that second fight, and it's just difficult to see him going back to his glory days, to be honest. I mean, I'd like to see Liam Smith win. I think a lot of all-timers win the game, but I think that McKenna's probably catching him at the right time here. It's difficult to see this go in 12 rounds as well, because they're both going to give it a good crack. I think it'd be very, very good to watch, to be honest. But I think Smith's gauge tank will just go a little bit quicker than McKenna's, to be honest. I think in the mid to late rounds, McKenna's gonna finally have his number.
Remember, Liam Smith did have disc problems and back problems in the Eubank second fight. I'm giving him a bit of a pass here, I think.
Yeah, look, and you can try and make a few excuses for him, but Eubank was on top of him from the get-go in that second fight. I don't think it would have mattered. I think he was going to get the stoppage one way or another, to be honest. He was just too good for him. I mean, you're going to see the form firm out, because if Eubank gets beat by Benn, which we'll talk about in a minute, then it doesn't really look that good for him in terms of a loss. It looks worse, but I just think that it's been nearly 2 years since he's fought now as well. That's going to be a big issue for him.
Thank you very much. Brett?
Yeah, I don't know, because again, I don't think I'm giving McKenna enough credit of being the young, hungry lion coming up, you know, and I don't know how good he is yet. Simply like I think it was you said, Carl, about pedigrees and stuff like that.
I don't rate him, I'll be honest.
Yeah. So when I look at this fight, I think that maybe because Liam got the ump when he had to fight Fowler.
Yeah,
he got the right ump, but he got the ump to say, "You lot actually thought he was going to beat me."
Yeah.
And then sometimes that's where the class comes into it, you know, and like what we see on the TV, what they know around gyms and what they know about feeling each other is a little bit different. And like with any game, there's levels, right? Yes, the age is a factor. Yes, he looked horrendous against Eubank with a bad injury, and but as he learned from that experience of the way he was living his life, you know, being a bit more partying and then saying, I was so close to kicking on it again. Because don't forget, who was the Russian that he lost to when we thought it was all over?
Yeah, he got robbed, didn't he, out in Russia? I can't remember his name.
Thought it
wasn't
Karadnov or something like that.
It was on a Friday afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah. He got robbed, and then you were thinking to yourself, "There, Carl, is that him done? Is he gone?" Yeah. And then he got through this Fowler one, and he went through him, and then since then he kicked on again. So to finish it up, I think that we might see a vintage beefy performance, and I still think it'll go the full distance. But I'll stick my neck out on the line and say, because of what the lads are saying here, it might be a split decision in Liam's favour.
Interesting, Sean.
Yeah, I still think Liam Smith's got a fair bit left, to be honest. We know what the Smith family's like, I think, and they're all sort of sound, fair enough, square blokes, and they all say that they'll tell each other if they've sort of had enough, as it were. So I don't think we'll be seeing him if we didn't need to. By all accounts, he's made his money and set himself up for life, so it's not a financial reason, although, of course, that helps. I'm with you though, Kyle. I don't really think McKenna's that good, to be honest, and I think Liam Smith will come through, and he'll build himself onto a bigger fight potentially. I've heard the Josh Kelly fight's still there for him, so potentially that's a fight lined up if he was to come through this one. Again, I think it will go the points, but I could see perhaps Liam knocking him down a couple of times on the way and winning fairly wide on points.
Right, interesting. I like it when we split. So, coming on to the main event, the big one, Chris Eubank JN versus Conor Benn. And I'll go to Brett first. Give me your breakdown and predictions, Brett.
I think I'll be on my own here, and that's okay. Ultimately, it does worry me, the size difference in terms of like just looking at him, but then looking at him in the press conference. But he always does this. But looking at him in the press conference, he looks drawn. His cheeks are high. Eubank, he looks dry. Like he's gonna go. He's gonna go through hell in the next 24, 48 hours. And then with this only £10 rehydration clause, is he going to get enough back on to see him through? I don't know. The bottom line is Conor is small. And all I can think here is, depending on where Eubank's at, Eubank could surprise us and come out hot as well. He might fight fire with fire because of knowing that he carries more weight than him, and he wants to knock him spark out. But I'll throw something different in there to what everybody's saying. I think Conor Benn can do 12 rounds at throwing bombs, and whether he's hurt, hear me out. I don't think he's going to hurt Eubank. I'm being brutally honest. I don't think he's going to hurt. But can he catch the judge's eyes enough that he's going to be relentless for 12 rounds? So the rebuttal to that is, if Eubank hurts him, we'll stop him and slow him down from doing that. But at the end of the day, I'll go with stick my neck out on the line and say that Conor could get a decision based on work rate. But from what I'm hearing, everybody thinks Conor's going between 6 and 8. He's going to sleep. So, but I'll go with that. Ben on points.
Okay, got there in the end, didn't we, Brett? Okay, moving.
Tough one though, mate. It's a tough one. Don't start.
I've been covering all bases here. You may
Don't start.
have said.
You know I like sitting on the fence.
I think you like Conorbenn are going to win between round 1 and 12. You may as well have said that.
Well, then I'll be right then, won't I?
I think you've done as good a job as that, fella. So moving on to hopefully someone who's going to give us a definitive answer. Sean.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bit of a vested interest in this one, as Eubank being my best mate, shall we say. I think he'll come through. I mean, I agree what Brett said about the weight, but he does always look like that. I mean, he was at the Harlem fight a couple of weeks ago, and there wasn't an ounce of fat on him then. So God knows how he does make weight. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a little fine, to be honest. By all accounts, he's penalised 30 grand per pound. He's over 160. So I wouldn't be surprised if he come in at 165. He'll be happy to take the financial penalty on that, I think. And I think he gets to Benn mid to late stoppage. I think Benn doesn't look too good, in my opinion, at this higher weight. He looks too muscular. I think that's going to pay dividends in the fight. I think it's going to wear him out quite quickly. I think he's only got sort of 3 to 4 rounds in him to stop Eubank personally, and I don't think he'll be able to. So my prediction will be Eubank sort of mid to late stoppage.
Okay, thank you very much. Mick, coming to you next, young man.
First of all, how good was Eubank today? I thought he was superb. He does look drawn. He does, and it's a worry. But I just don't see... I think it'll be a case of the bull and the matador. I think you're going to see one guy trying to take the other's head off and one guy sharpshooting from the outside. And I think that'll be Eubank sharpshooting, to be honest. I think, for all Brett was saying, Benn can go 12 rounds throwing bombs. I don't think he can at this weight. I think he'll realise that after 4 or 5 rounds and he'll start to slow. And I think Eubank will then start to pick the pace up. I don't think any of them will get stopped, to be honest. I think it'll go to points. And I think we're looking wide decision for Eubank. But let's be honest, for all we're getting excited about the fight, this is built on nostalgia. This isn't built on the skill of these guys. It's not. It's built on nostalgia of the parents, isn't it? Of the dads. Because if this was just 2 random guys fighting, this probably wouldn't even got sanctioned. Never mind be selling out 65k at Tottenham.
I also don't like the 2-fight deal bit as well, mate, because it was almost like, you've got a safety net there, haven't you, to some degree for the fighters. Another payday.
Exactly. Well, it's like with most Eddie Hearn fights, isn't it? There's always a rematch clause somewhere. And it's just, if you're going to put it on the line, you put it on the line. I can't see how Benn does it. If he does, fair enough, but I just don't see it. I think Eubank has got too much experience. He's been in with such a much higher class of opposition. Multiple world champions. He's beaten world champions. I mean, he retired James DeGale. He beat Arthur Abraham. Who's Ben really been in with at that class?
DeGale was
Chris
spent,
Algieri.
mate, come on.
Yeah, he was spent. I'll give you that. But he's still that experience gained, isn't it? I mean, when you look at Ben's career, his biggest name, really, you could say, is Algieri, who was a 140-pound champion.
That, right? Bit of a shadow over that performance, let's say.
Yep, that and the Van Heerden one as well. But yeah, for me, it's going to be Eubank.
Okay,
wide decision.
And to close the show off is Harrison. Take it away.
Yeah, last and least. I don't think this is close. I really don't think this is as close as people billing it out to be. And I get that the nostalgia thing is fantastic for this, and this wouldn't be a co-feature on most cards, because let's put this right, this is barely 2 of the top 10 middleweights in the division. Well, one's not even a middleweight having a good go. I said that to you just before we kicked off there earlier. So in terms of like a long scope to a world title, maybe they'll get fast-tracked the winner of this because of the names and everything in between it, and that's great. But ultimately, if any of these came up against the big names in the division, I just don't think they would be able to cut it. But this is just way too big an ask for Conor Benn. There's too many factorials beside his name for this to be remotely close. I just think that to have come up 2 weight divisions against someone who's been at that weight his entire career, whether he's going to carry his power up, which I have doubts about, because the last 2 fights we've seen from Conor Benn, the power seems to sort of evaporate after his post issues, of course, with the border control. He's got to carry weight up that I don't think he actually has that well at 147 pounds.
He was 154 last couple of fights, so wasn't he?
Just because he wasn't making weight at 147.
Yeah.
But then more to the point, if he's gone up 1 division and not proved he's got the weight, how is he going to do it in 2? Yeah. I really, really struggle to see an outcome where Conor Benn, who is going to fight on emotion and heart, and he's going to give it a right good go, and that's great, but after 6 or 7 rounds, when that isn't there anymore for him, and he's lost the respect of Eubank in that sense, Eubank's just going to be able to pull away and win this quite comfortably on points. I don't think Eubank carries crazy power either. It's actually, and we shouldn't be saying this because I'm looking forward to the fight, but it actually probably won't be that exciting to watch, unfortunately, because I don't think this is 2 middleweights that are going to go hell for leather, to be completely honest. Eubank's technical ability is actually pretty sound. Again, he's not got huge names on his record. Those that he does are from yesteryear, like you said, like James DeGale, great fighter on his day, but he wasn't on his day when he was 38 and being retired, was he? So I struggle really to see either of them knocking each other out, to be honest. There's going to be some good emotion, but if Eubank boxes smartly, all right, you've got the disadvantage of the ring being smaller. That can only play into Ben's hands, in my opinion. But if he boxes sharp, he's got a great jab. His movement's significantly better than Conor Benn's, in my opinion. I think he'll just coast to an easy points victory here. I really do. I was surprised to see the prices and whatnot being as big as they were, because I just think Eubank's too classy for him. What was it, a £10 hydration clause you said as well? So look, that takes him up to 170. If Sean might have a really good point there, will he be that bothered about coming in £4 over if he's getting paid 10 million quid? Probably not, to be honest. So I just think that there's too many things that Conor Benn's got to do, to be honest. You'll remember this well. Whenever Kell Brook moved up to fight Gennady Golovkin, and I know that was a different period because they were both at the top of their game. If Kell Brook couldn't do it, I mean, I just struggle to see how Conor Benn's going to be able to personally. But look, I'm excited for the fight.
Eubank's not Golovkin, though. Eubank's not Golovkin.
No.
And Ben's not Brook.
Yeah,
but Brook was able to keep it a whole lot closer than what I'm expecting Conor Benn to be honest. I like your angle. I like what you said about him going to points. I think that offers a really good incentive, because if the judges start to favour him being more on top of Eubank, which he probably will be for at least 6 rounds, possibly further, you might have a really good point in there. But I don't think that's how Conor Benn's going to fight. I think that he's going to burn so much in the first half of the fight that if he doesn't get him out of there, he's in big trouble.
I think he's got a 4-round window. Sorry, I think he's got a 4-round window, Conor Benn, to win it. If you don't get him out,
I'd have it a bit bigger than that, personally. Because Eubank's not a fast fighter at all, so he's not gonna. Eubank's not gonna slow him down enough in 4 rounds.
So
we've seen it twice recently, haven't we? We've seen it twice recently with Kell Brook stepping up against Triple G. We've seen Amir Khan try it with Canelo. Let's be honest, neither one of these 2 guys in the ring tomorrow night Saturday night,
No.
or anywhere near them 4
And let's
fighters.
not even
In
put
my
them
eyes, they're
anywhere
not.
near the same sentence as Terence Crawford stepping up for Canelo, because that, you know, they're just universes apart, aren't they?
Exactly.
So
this is a cash grab. Whereas their dads, they fought for legacy. This is just a cash grab more than anything.
It's not a good
Let's
fight,
be honest.
to be honest.
No.
Like, literally speaking, in terms of the 12 rounds we're going to see, it probably won't be that good. But the spectacle itself is just brilliant, and that is what we're buying into here, really.
Yeah, this is going to bring young men, fathers, grandfathers together with nostalgia. It's going to be a uniting fight. It's going to be a spectacle. It's a moment in time.
Let's be honest, it's intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
So, Harrison, I don't think we got a prediction out you did, Bear. What was the prediction?
Eubank unanimous decision. I'd be very surprised if it did. I think it'll definitely go 12 rounds. So I'd agree with Brett there that he's got a fair shot at getting paid on Benn, winning on points, but I think Eubank's just way too good for him.
Yeah, my basis is the first 6. If you're right, there's a method behind it. It's can he look good for 6, and then nick 1 in the back straight, nick 1 and 2 in the back. Straight.
That could happen.
Exactly my basis.
Very fair.
But I don't disagree with what you guys are saying. The only thing I will say though, Carl, can we get? I don't know what the budget is with Last Bell Boxing, but can we get surveillance on Andy?
What are you talking about budget for?
Can we get surveillance on Andy? Because I'm not having it. All these people that say they're not watching it, you lot are right. Could it be a low-level British title fight? Yeah, maybe. But the country's going to tune in, and Andy's going to tune in as well.
I'll have to buy a new camera that's got infrared on there because the lights will be off, and I won't mention in too detail, but he'll have that sock out again. So
his TV right now literally says like 2 days, 3 hours, and whatever it is for the main event. He's waiting for the countdown. To go
I think there's a bit of boxing snobbery, if I'm honest with you, because I find it quite intriguing. I know people are calling it a circus, but it's intriguing, so I'm going to watch it.
I'd get if he wasn't interested in like one of the Misfits fights, like a KSI or a Logan Paul. I get that because that wouldn't be for the hardcores, but the name value alone, and it's a good card. It's a very decent card. It's not Turkey's best, but it's a very strong card.
Yeah, snobbery. That's what it is. Okay.
What are you going actually before we go?
I'm going Eubank to stop him round 9.
Okay.
I think he will stop him. I think my theory is Ben will come out swinging for 4 rounds, absolutely tire himself out, and then Eubank can do whatever he wants to him, and then finish it.
Ben carries that lead left hand so low, carries it so low, and you can just see Eubank coming over the top.
Obviously, but I have had a little wager, and if he does come in, you'll probably hear the shouts from Nottingham, even Brett will in Canada, because I'll be celebrating with him. I've got very good odds, but I won't be disclosing it because the wife's within earshot, and I might have told her different odds to what it really is. So let's see. So thank you very much for attending, guys. Brett, thank you very much, fella. Mick, great to have you on the channel, mate. Over this first of many. Sean, thank you down in Brighton. And
thanks,
Harrison,
guys.
cheers, mate. Who knows where you are, Harrison? You're
Undisclosed information.
Undisclosed. So we'll do a post-fight reaction show on Sunday. Keep an eye on the socials for the time of that. This has been Last Bell Boxing, proudly sponsored by SC Travel and LW Liftons. We'll see you on the next show. Thank you very much.